Hey guys, I'm Eric with American Trucks. Today we're checking out this S&B cold air intake with dry extendable filter for all 2019 and later Ram 1500s with the 5.7 liter Hemi V8. Now you should really be checking this out if you are looking to get a little bit of a power boost out of your Hemi V8 as well as better throttle response. Now in terms of improvement in drivability, I think what you're really going to notice with the addition of this cold air intake is the throttle response. It's going to be a lot crisper and a lot snappier. You're going to hit the gas and it's going to go. Now as far as power boosts go, this is a great starting block if you're going to do additional power mods to your Hemi V8, like a tune, a larger throttle body, or a custom exhaust. Not only are you going to get those performance improvements, but you're also getting an appearance improvement for the engine bay of your truck as well. You have this large clear window here that not only gives you, at a glance, a look at your filter and you can tell the condition of it, whether or not it needs to be replaced or cleaned, and it also says to the world that you've got some performance mods going on with your truck. Now, in my opinion, in addition to the clear window here, what's really the centerpiece of this kit are two things. This air filter is massive. The manufacturer tells us that it allows up to 47.5% more air through this intake than your factory air box. The other aspect of this design that really stands out is that large intake tube. It is much larger, noticeably larger than your factory intake tube as well, and that's where all that better airflow is really going to come from. Now to be able to accommodate that larger airflow capacity through that larger filter and intake tube, the airbox design also allows for two different methods of entry for the air. You have the cold air coming in from the front near the radiator, but you also have a side port here as well if you want to maximize airflow. And the manufacturer tells us that if you operate in a very hot climate, you might want to plug that hole up. We'll talk a little bit more about that later when we have you look at this side by side with your factory intake a little bit later in this video. Overall, this kit is made from OE grade materials and is backed by a limited lifetime warranty from the manufacturer. With all that in mind, you're looking at right around $400, maybe a little less for this kit right now, and that's pretty competitive. That's about the ballpark you're going to see for most cold air intakes for your Ram 1500. Now, as far as the installation goes, guys, I'm giving it a very basic 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. There's a few steps involved here and a couple tricky things we're going to show you a little bit later in the installation part of this video. It shouldn't be a problem if you just kind of follow along with us. Give yourself about an hour to get this job done from start to finish. One thing I do want to throw out there is that this kit is currently not CARB certified, so if you are operating your truck in the state of California, or if you have it registered in California, I should say, it is not road legal with this kit at this time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the tools you're going to need and move ahead with our installation. All right guys, tools you're going to see in this install include an electric impact wrench, a pair of snippers, an extension, an 8mm socket, a pair of 11mm sockets, a 1/2 inch socket, trim removal tool, a small flat blade screwdriver, a small Phillips head screwdriver, and a 19mm ratcheting wrench. All right guys, first part of the uninstall here to get our factory equipment out is to remove this tube. We need to disconnect the sensor wiring harness here. So just pinch the clip and pull back. Then we also need to disconnect this breather tube. There's a gray tab that you just kind of pinch on the bottom side. And then that pulls free just like that. All right guys, now we got 2 clamps for our intake tube here, one here and one up here. We're going to loosen those so we can remove this. You can either use a flat blade screwdriver in here or an 8mm socket. And all we need to do is loosen these clamps. All right, now pull the intake tube off the throttle body. All right guys, now we're inside the front passenger wheel well. There's 2 bolts, one here and one down here, that are 8mm, and we're going to remove those because they go into the underside of our air box. All right, with those 2 bolts out, you should be able to unseat the airbox from its rubber grommets. All right guys, next we're going to be removing this large black plastic tray here. We're not going to need it with our new airbox. So you might have some wiring harnesses like this bundle of wiring here with this like lock pin here. Might be plugged in the back there. If that is attached, go ahead and just use a flat blade screwdriver or term removal tool and just pop it out. There might also be a wire down here on the front end of that tray that might be attached, and just pop those out. Otherwise, we're going to be removing these 4 bolts right here, and you can use a 1/2-inch socket to do that. These have like a little top hat kind of flange on there. You might want to keep a finger on that as they're coming out so the bolt doesn't drop down and get lost forever. And as you can see, these bolts that we're removing, guys, have like a flange on them. So as they're backing out, you might want to get your finger on that and just hold on to it so it doesn't fall out of your socket and get lost down below here. One more to do. All right, now let's remove the tray. All right, guys, now we have our factory intake out of the truck. I want to throw up here on the table, give you a quick side-by-side comparison to our new S&B cold air intake. Now, really, the big difference I think you're going to notice is this huge intake tube right here. It's going to let in a lot larger volume of air, and it's going to be a lot more smooth, free-flowing air going into your intake. And you're really going to notice that in the throttle response area. Much crisper, cleaner throttle response. Now the other main difference too with this kit is the premium air filter. Now we're reviewing the one here with the dry white cotton filter, and as you can see, it's huge. It's a lot more surface area there that allows a lot more air to get into your intake compared to the smaller rectangular shaped kind of panel type of air filter that's in your factory airbox. The other key difference as well is that here on your factory airbox, there is only one inlet for air to get in and through the filter. With your new S&B kit, there are 2 passages, and the manufacturer recommends that you leave them both open unless you operate in extremely hot climates. And in that case, they recommend using this plug included in the kit, and you plug up this hole right here. That will allow only the use of the single port that lines up with the factory intake inlet passage that gets air into the air box. Otherwise, unless you're operating in an extremely hot climate, they recommend leaving both of those passages open. It lets a lot more air into your air box and getting through that much larger air filter. And last thing I want to point out too is you have the huge window here that is kind of a classic design feature to the S&B cold air intake, regardless of what vehicle you're putting it on. I've installed a number of these on all kinds of vehicles, everything from Jeeps to Silverados to Rams here and F-150s, and a signature characteristic of these air boxes is that clear window. The advantage there is it kind of dresses it up a little bit, shows off to the world that you've got some performance products under the hood, but it's also a nice visual reference. You can take a quick look in there and you can see when this filter is getting gummed up or dirted up, and it's time to either replace it or clean it if you have the cleanable version, and you can just see that at a glance. Now, how are you going to do that with your factory airbox? You're going to have to undo all these bolts, take it apart, and inspect the air filter, and it kind of makes it a lot more hassle. Whereas here, you can just see it at a quick glance. So let's go ahead and continue with our installation. All right, guys, now we're going to do a couple of assembly steps here on the table. First off, get this rubber grommet into the large opening here, and this is the opening where our air filter is going to be. All right, again, guys, like I mentioned a moment ago, this is optional whether or not you want to plug this hole using this kind of square-shaped rubber gasket here. rubber piece. It's up to you. If you are working in extremely hot climates or maybe dusty climates, you want to kind of limit, you don't want the full amount of air getting in the air box, then you're going to want to plug this hole up. And because the factory location that's around the other side of the air box provides a lot more colder air, this is going to give you a little bit more mixed air because you're going to get some from inside the engine compartment. But for demonstration purposes, we're just going to show you how to get it in here. You're going to want to mount it up from the inside. Just like that. All right, now we have two holes here on the same side. That is that hole that we just plugged up here. And we're going to put these rubber grommets in. All right guys, now on our intake tube, you're going to want to take this piece here and we're going to get it threaded in as far as we can by hand. And go ahead and grab a 19mm socket or an adjustable crescent wrench, and we're going to tighten down. I have a 19mm ratcheting wrench here. One thing I'm going to throw out there as a warning for this is don't over torque this. This is kind of thin material and you can damage it if you over torque. Also on the intake tube here, you're going to want this rubber grommet here, and this is where the intake sensor is going to go, the intake air temperature sensor. All right guys, now we're going to remove the sensor out of our factory intake tube. We're going to have to turn it counterclockwise, and there's a little lock tab right here, so if you have a small screwdriver or a pick that can get under there, and just gently lift it up. Don't have to lift it too hard or too high, it'll break off. Then we can go ahead and transfer it over to our new unit here. All right guys, now for the rubber connecting piece here, get two clamps from the kit, start it on there and seat it on top of your throttle body. And you're going to want these oriented this way so you can have access to them once we get the rest of the parts on. And I'm going to snug up the bottom one here, not super tight, but just enough so it's not going to move or go anywhere. We're going to leave the top one loose for now. All right guys, now grab this piece and this rubber connector. This is going to be the cold air intake part that kind of faces forward towards your radiator inside your engine compartment. And this has two holes on it. We're going to line those up on here and use these locking push pins from the kit to secure them together. All right, now this piece we just assembled here, we're gonna attach it to the intake plastic piece here, just to the passenger side of our radiator. It's a pretty snug fit. You're just gonna have to work it on there. Basically snugs on with a little bit of tension. All right guys, now bring your new S&B airbox in. Kind of get it in place here. Now this piece we just mounted fits kind of in this recessed opening here. So it should be flush. You can look at it from the inside. There are threaded holes on that piece we mounted up here. So we're gonna put bolts in through the inside of the airbox, and you're also gonna wanna check to make sure that we're lined up where we're gonna mount 2 bolts over here near the passenger side front fender. All right, now we're gonna start these 2 bolts over here up against the fender. We're just gonna get them started. We don't wanna tighten them all the way down just yet. We have the 4 bolts over here that we're gonna start as well. All right guys, now grab these hex head bolts, flat washer and lock washer. You're gonna have 4 of them. We're gonna get them started here to attach our airbox to the cold air inlet. All right guys, and we're gonna tighten these up. These 4 bolts here near the cold air inlet they need an 11mm socket. All right guys, now take another bolt, a flat washer, and put it through the bottom hole here, just like this. And right where I'm positioned, I can reach around and feel underneath the wheel well liner here. And if the bolt is coming through, you're gonna put another flat washer, and there are nylon lock nuts that come in the kit that you're gonna put on the other end there, and we'll cinch it up. All right guys, now you are seeing the view from inside the wheel well this time. I'm gonna drop the other bolt through. And use another flat washer. All right guys, now to tighten these up, you're gonna need an 11mm tool on both sides. So I'm gonna stick a wrench underneath to secure the nut, and then we'll turn it from up top here. And do the same thing for the other bolt. And then we're going to tighten up these 2 bolts here using a 0.5mm socket, or a 1/2-inch socket. All right guys, now with your intake tube, we're gonna insert it here to the airbox. And then put it down into the spacer up here. And again, 8mm socket, we're going to tighten this up here. All right guys, now we're going to put the new air filter in. Make sure you have your clamp on there first. All right, then tighten up your clamp using an 8mm socket. All right guys, now before we can put our clear cover on here, you're gonna wanna put the gasket around this little groove so we have a nice tight seal for the airbox. If you have any excess here, you can go ahead and trim it. All right, now go ahead and get your clear cover in place. All right guys, now we're going to use these black screws with the black plastic grommets here. And I'm just going to get that started. Once you have them all started, you can tighten them down. All right guys, last two things. Reconnect our breather here. And our wiring harness for the sensor. All right guys, that wraps up this review and install of this S&B cold air intake with dry extendable cotton filter for all 2019 and later Ram 1500s with the 5.7 liter Hemi V8. For all things Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.